two things in life that you can't escape. Number one is death. Number two is taxes. And so it's the perfect storm for this one business model. No, it's not a funeral home, and do this if you want to build generational wealth. And of course, I'm talking about acquiring businesses. And the reason why I think that people, they get sometimes building wealth backwards is once you have wealth, the game is maintaining or retaining it, right? It's not, once you get to a certain level of wealth, and I'm not there. I'm not at a point where I never want to work the rest of my life and I can just put it all into a high interest savings account and just live the way I want to live, right? I still got to work. But there are people who are at that point in their lives, and it's not about making more money at that point. It's about protecting the money they've made and retaining it. And that's all about tax strategy. It's all about those types of things. And so one of the things that is interesting and that I put a big emphasis on for me and a lot of my students, they're going out there and they're buying accounting firms. Now, I acquired an accounting firm with some partners back in December. I think it's an awesome industry to buy in, and it's probably the most popular that everyone in our group in Acquisition Ace are buying right now. I think over 10 of them have been done in the last 4 months. And the reason why I'm so strong in that thesis is because they're the most recession resistant, there's recurring revenue there, and there's a barrier to entry, right? Not everyone can start an accounting firm. You need some level of education, some kind of certification that people are going to trust you with doing their taxes. So it's just such an amazing business model. And it's something that so many baby boomers that are retiring, they make up the bulk of accounting firms. The vast majority of accounting firms are owned by people that are in their 60s plus. And so many of them have to come on the market to sell. And there's just not enough people out there to buy them. So you can buy them with 1x the previous year's revenue. A lot of these firms are at 40 to 50% margins, profit margins. So you're really buying a lot of money, getting a good amount of bang for your buck, right? When you're buying a firm for $1 million, you could be making $400 to $500K off that million. So great businesses. And I got a bunch of other posts. I can see that as I'm scrolling through some of these, they did well. A lot of them are talking about this accounting strategy. And it's funny because I never would have thought this would have been the topic that everyone was just interested in hearing more about and doing. And it's just turned into that. So it's awesome. I'm bullish on it. I'm investing in it. I know a lot of my students are out there doing it as well, and they're doing well. A lot of people shy away from business acquisition because they don't want to deal with a team full of employees. Vending machine routes are cool because it's a very low cost startup. So you can buy an existing route. We actually have one that we just presented to our group this past week. It's doing $8,000 a month in revenue, $4,000 a month in net profit. They're easy to start. They're easy to expand, right? It's really just you going out there. The bar is so low. It's about you going out there to hotels and going out to event venues, hospitals, going out to vacation rental areas where they're like campgrounds. And there's so many different areas. It's such low-hanging fruit, just reaching out on a consistent basis off market. And he's finding so many different places to put these machines in. And these machines are doing 1,000, even more per location per month. And so very easy to operate. Once you get to a level where you're making over $5K a month, you can easily hire a part-time operator just to go fill the machine so you're not doing it yourself. It's a great business model. I actually had a vending machine and I tried out. I had it for 4 months, made good money off of it, but the thing kept on emptying out every week and I was driving about 30 minutes both way there and back to go fill this machine up. And after a while, I'm like, look, this was cool. I learned a lot. Yet, if I had the time and energy, I could go out and get 10 of these and do it and make it big enough to where I can pay someone. But I just didn't have the time. I'm doing other acquisitions that pay me a lot more bang for my buck at the level that I'm doing it. So let me just push this off to the side. And I sold the route very easily, put on Craigslist. Like 2 days later, I had 3 people who wanted to buy it, made good money off selling the route. So it works. I've tested it out myself. So if you're interested in it, definitely check out Mike Hoffman. He's here on Twitter as well. And I think he is also on Instagram. The second one is self-serve car washes. So self-serve car washes are really cool, obviously for a few reasons. The biggest reason is that it's a model where, especially if you make a subscription, it's something that is recurring. There's definitely a barrier to entry. It's expensive. It's expensive to build one, and it's expensive to acquire one because they're usually a real estate play as well. Like, you're very rarely are you going to see a car wash that doesn't also come with real estate, right? It's going to be on top of a piece of land. You're buying both. So the car wash itself, let's say it's doing $200,000 a year in profit. That means that you can buy the business itself maybe for 3x. But the land it sits on, it's on a nice commercial corner, a lot of traffic go by it. That piece of property might be $1 million or $2 million, right? So you're looking at a pretty expensive overall purchase price. But there's also, and there's a guy on Twitter too, I'm forgetting his name right now, forgive me. He's the car wash guy. And he does a really good breakdown of how you can, like, tax-wise, how it's super cool to buy car washes because you get the real estate play, you get the depreciation, you get the cost segregation, and it's really cool to do, right? And they're fairly, if you have self-service one, it's fairly passive, and you get a whole bunch of benefits by doing it. Storage facilities are great. Obviously, it's another real estate play, and depending on if it's self-storage, meaning like they have the key, they're the ones maintaining it, you're really not doing much as the owner besides obviously the leasing part of it and getting their tenants filled out, but also great. This space though has gotten super competitive in recent years. A lot of private equity groups, a lot of funds are going after these storage facilities because they're good investments, and it's driven the price up dramatically, and cap rates have compressed because of it. And it's definitely something I've not gone into the storage facility game. I know a couple of people that are. One of my mentors is very big into it, but they are great investments. I just have not been focused on them. Laundromats, obviously they became popular with Cody Sanchez and her getting the word out on them. They're great businesses. You're going to have a hard time financing laundromats, SBA or otherwise, just because a lot of them are cash based. And when that's the case, usually the tax returns really don't match the P&Ls, and there's a lot of just not clean books keeping that happens with a lot of businesses like that. So definitely going to be hard to finance. So these deals are going to be done with cash and seller financing. But if you get them, if it's actually a coin-operated one, and they can be pretty hands-off, very few employees, and have really good margins, and especially if you have a good high traffic count at the like strip mall locations, and it's all a location play. But if you can find them and the price makes sense, they're a great acquisition. ATM. So I did an ATM deal with a couple partners this past year as well, out in Colorado. Great deal. Great cash flow. We were able to get it financed. Maybe I'll do a video later on about how we were able to do that, because normally they're very hard to finance. But the ATMs are great. It's very much a mom and pop industry. We're not talking about the ones that are owned at the banks. The banks own those ATMs. These are the ones that you're going to find everywhere else, right? When you go into a bar, or when you go into, and it might be a concert event happening, or at stadiums, or at a barber shop, anywhere where there's going to be needed cash, you're going to find these, at gas stations especially. And as long as you get them, you're managing them professionally, you have a third-party vaulting service, you have an agreement with the owner of the location, you can sell these. And they can sell them at between a 2 and 4x as well, in terms of cash flow. And they're very hands-off. And so love that business model as well.